what we are seeing right across the country today is in a sense an outcome of the RTI Act, because the RTI Act for the first time opened up what was hidden behind not just government files but behind government closed doors, and what was happening in the name of the people in a democracy but the people didn't know. People have begun to dig it out, begun to expose it, begun to bring it out, and so therefore if you look at it, the first step is transparency, but immediately after transparency what follows are questions of accountability.
We talked about from the NCPRI a basket of measures which included 5 different measures. One was to have a lokpal, which looked at higher bureaucracy and the politicians. The second was to have an uplokpal, which looked at the lower bureaucracy. The third was to have a grievance redress bill, which covered all the grievances across the board. The fourth was to have a judicial accountability bill, which then covered the higher judiciary. And the fifth was to have a whistleblower bill, which would not just ensure that people who do whistles relating to any of these institutions, but even other institutions like the Human Rights Commission, etc., would get protection.
So we've used 4 words in Hindi. The first thing is you want jankari, but after jankari you want a sunwai, that someone should listen to you. You want karwai, that there should be some action on it. And actually now we are finding that you want suraksha, because when people try and raise these issues themselves as good Samaritans, as citizens, as people with public interest at mind, as individuals who have a particular cause they are fighting, or even maybe someone who is not so motivated or motivated in a wrong way but is actually bringing out information that helps everyone across the board.
The whistleblower is in the government. The whistleblower could be outside the government apparatus, within the private sector, an employer, within a corporate sector. And the whistleblower could also be somebody who's outside. So one thing that we're saying, could be like an RT activist, could be like a human rights worker. What we're trying to say is that these 3-4 categories of whistleblowers all need the protection as stated in the international law of the Human Rights Defenders Declaration, of which India is a signatory.
We had here Shailesh Gandhi yesterday talking about the Information Commission having passed a resolution that many of us were asking, that anyone who asks for information and is then attacked or killed, that information becomes a duty of the Information Commission to bring that information out, put it in the website, so that at least the message goes out to these people that if we try and kill someone asking for information, our information will come out even more prominent. So it doesn't help to beat up someone or be aggressive in this fashion or attack.
In the case of the Whistleblowers Act, what we are looking at is a law which has already gone into Parliament, gone into the Standing Committee, where we also appeared and gave our recommendations, and it's now come out. But where now the other issues of human rights defenders and a new group of people who are now emerging from the rights-based laws, who are demanding to be part of the process of governance in participatory methodology, using participatory methodology, and also disclosing a lot of corruption and a lot of misdeeds. Now, how do you treat this group? Because they are neither technically government servants, nor are they technically even human rights defenders. Now, they need to be covered by some law, because we've seen in the last 2 years that many of them have been killed. So it's a matter of emergency and dire necessity now. Immediately they need to be addressed.
But there are further questions. There are questions of when no action is taken by the state, which is where a lot of this lokpal debate has come from. So how do you deal with that? There are issues of grievances and grievance redress which are going on now in many numerous workshops, in education, in health, in ordinary day-to-day issues, in questions of how grievances can be dealt with in the environment, in forests, in mining, which is such a contentious issue, and whether the law is being followed. Now, some are issues of corruption, some are issues of grievance. Everywhere there are issues of not being heard and action not being taken.
The first platform should be within the system. For instance, if I have a shikayat, a complaint against the police on what they did to me, the Rajasthan Police Act has these police committees, but they're not yet been activated. So first we need to activate the existing redressal mechanism and also start talking of independent redressal mechanism, which can also be where people can go if the existing mechanism doesn't work.
For a common person, of course, big ticket corruption is a concern, but grievances, day-to-day grievances that they have with the government where they don't get their rights, they don't get their entitlements, and they are denied any sort of redressal is a bigger problem at an immediate level. Grievances of people have to be defined. What is a grievance? That needs to be clearly defined. If one looks at what are the sorts of problems that people have when they go with a problem or a complaint to the government, there are 5 sorts of things. The first thing is that they're not very sure themselves what are the rights and the entitlements that they should be getting. The second problem is that when they go with a complaint, nobody will accept their complaint because they'll be passed from one office to another and they would be told that they are not the appropriate authority to accept their grievance. The third sort of problem that a common person has when they go with a complaint to a department is that there's no time limit. So even if somebody were to accept their grievance, nobody knows how much time it will take to be able to get the grievance resolved. Grievances are not resolved satisfactorily, then there is no appeal mechanism that people are aware of. They don't know where to go within the department, outside the department. And finally, there is really no pressure by way of a clear penalty mechanism that exists, which will be imposed on an official who does not perform his duty and does not get rid of the person's grievance or address the person's complaint when they go with it. So the draft that we have proposed from the NCPRI essentially tries to address each of these issues.
The NCPRI, in a basket of measures, says that apart from corruption, we need to have a separate legislation to protect anyone who is a complainant. And we also need to have a legislation to make sure that anyone who has a grievance can be dealt with in a decentralized fashion and actually by empowering them.
So it's a continuation of a pattern of interacting and engaging with issues of governance, which we now realize is more important than just fighting a battle for political presence and political power.